Everyone, and welcome to the Educator Experience podcast. My name is Salli Carter, and I'm really excited to share this space today with another American educator. Over the past month, I actually feel like I have had the opportunity to sit down with a number of American educators that will be shared in our upcoming podcasts and episode. But today, I traveled all the way to Ball State University, Indiana. And that's virtually, of course, because we don't quite yet have the budget for me to be just jet setting, ripping off around the world. I mean, that would be kind of fun though, right? But for now, virtually, I met Dr. Rebecca VanMeter, affectionately known as Dr. V by her students. She's an associate professor of marketing at Ball State University and is known for her immersive, highly engaged, and innovative teaching style. Her work focuses on influencer marketing, social media, student development, and building meaningful, purpose driven learning experiences. Her passions for supporting student development and community impact can be seen in all aspects of her work. Now, her energy and her passion definitely shine throughout our conversation as we explore a range of topics from receiving student feedback and navigating the highs and lows of teaching. What do you mean highs and lows? What? It's not same all the time. Never, never. It's never the same. There's never a dull day in teaching. To really reflecting on where our colleagues and institutions currently find themselves in the ever evolving and sometimes chaotic landscape of generative AI in teaching and learning. And folks, have you checked out our new Educator Reflection Journal? This journal follows a full academic semester with purposeful prompts designed to help you pause, reflect, and actually capture what's happening in your teaching as it literally unfolds. It's actually perfect for educators who want to reflect intentionally, track their growth across a semester, and build evidence that you can use for portfolios, reviews, and even promotions. So get it while it's still on sale for this semester. Now, without further ado, I invite you to sit back wherever you are. If you're cleaning, dancing around your house, maybe you're driving, and enjoy the conversation with Dr. Rebecca VanMeter. Being an educator is one heck of a lonely journey, but every step holds a story, an experience that shapes how we teach, learn, and grow. Welcome to the Educator Experience. I'm your host, Salli Carter, and together we'll explore the moments that define us as educators. Through authentic conversations and shared experiences, we're building a community that connects, reflects, and inspires, all while breaking down barriers in education, one story at a time. You are not alone. Let's grow together. So, Rebecca, thank you so much for joining the Educator Experience podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. If you're open to sharing a little bit about how you got into teaching, what was your journey like?
Oh, my journey was every path except for this, basically. I didn't even know this was really a job, I guess. In high school, we don't really, and college, you don't really think, oh, that job as a professor is different than the job of every other person teaching me in education. Like, it's a different thing. And so I moved a lot growing up. Between elementary school and high school, I moved 9 times, so a lot. I moved a ton growing up. My dad was a garbage man, and I knew I didn't want to be in garbage, so that network wasn't really going to help me. And my mom did a lot, always sales. So the context was different, but her and all 3 of her siblings were all PKs, preacher's kids. And so all 4 of them were in sales of some sort. Because preacher's kids have to learn how to be able to interact and engage with everybody. My dad was very high up at a Fortune 100 company, garbage company, and I knew he worked really hard, but after graduating college, I was summa cum laude. I spoke fluent Spanish. I had a minor in Spanish. I had lived in Colombia in high school. I lived in Spain in college. I
Wow.
lived with 6 girls from South America throughout the last 3 years of my college. So I spoke Spanish more than I spoke English. And so I was applying for jobs all over the world, and I didn't get a job. And I was, summa cum laude, like, had a job since forever. So, like, on paper, I still don't understand how I didn't get a job, because on paper, I was top, and I was a student athlete. So I played volleyball my entire life, and I went to college for volleyball. And if you've ever had an athlete, a student athlete who actually cares about education in your class,
Yeah.
they are like a special breed.
Yeah. They're so
So I
dedicated and committed. It's amazing. Yes.
and they can handle
Question.
difficult conversations,
Yeah.
and, like, it's totally different ball game, right? Um, and I couldn't find a job, so I started working at Robert Half International doing
I
temp work, and I got a few jobs, the temp stuff, and I got a few job offers, and I was like, "Nah, I don't wanna do data entry my whole life past." I got a job at American Board of Family Medicine, and I was the 4th tier IT support coordinator, which basically just meant, like, I did in-house training for the staff there, and I got offered a job there, and I was like, "Nah, this isn't for me either."
going through all the no's, figuring
Yeah,
life.
like, I learned a lot, right? I learned a lot about what I did and didn't like about a job, which is good. And then I got a job at State Farm, and I was life and health, property and casualty, again, sales.
Yeah.
Um, and I was just like, this is so boring. Like I was performing. I was a top performer. We did really well. We sold a lot. I won a prize for most car loans in a month or something like that. But I didn't like it. Like it wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't want to do that the rest of my life. So about that time, I was living with my parents and I started literally making myself sick because I hated the job so much and I just wanted to leave. And my mom was like, maybe we should consider a different career path that doesn't result in bulimia. I don't know. And I was like,
Maybe.
huh, seems reasonable, mom. Good
Yeah.
thinking. So,
Mom win. Yeah.
yeah, always.
Oh,
We learned that later. Too late. Um, yeah, so I went back to school and I was like, okay, I'm going to be a nurse. And then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna be it because my mom was working as a travel nurse placement coordinator, so she was hiring the nurses to match with the hospitals,
uh-huh.
and she was like, "You gotta be a nurse. These people get paid so much money, and you get to go live on the beach, and, like, this is great for you. They work 3 days a week. You could just play on the beach. You'd have fun." And I was like, "Great idea, mom." So then I start going back to school, and I'm doing that, and I'm like, "I don't want somebody telling me what to do. I'm gonna be a doctor." So then, right about that time, I met my neighbor, and she had a brand new house, a brand new car, and she lived right down the street from me. And she was always home. It seemed like she never was working. And I was like, what do you do? She said, I'm a marketing professor at Kentucky.
Okay.
And I was like, what does that mean? And she was like, I teach marketing. I was like, I loved marketing. She was like, yeah. And I was like, what kind of research do you do? And she was like, oh, I'm doing research on the Super Bowl and advertising. Her name's Tracy Frayling. She's a great professor. And she's currently back where I got my PhD. And I was like, I want to do that. What do I need to do that? And she said, you got to get a master's and then you'll go get a PhD. And I was like, how many more years of school is that? And she was like,
Just a few. Just a few.
yes, 5 to 6, depending on the program. Okay, I can do that. I'm great at school. So I did that. The first year I tried to get into a PhD program, I didn't get into one that felt like a good fit for me.
Mhm.
And then I got into the program that she ended up moving to. And so I got to go hang out with her for 4 years, and it was the best program. I would put my education at that point up against any colleges and universities.
That's
They just really cared about us as students, and they really fine-tuned our skill set, and I learned a lot, and I loved it.
that's incredible. So what did you major in then? What is your PhD?
Oh, okay. So we had a major and a minor, and we also had the stats classes. So I ended up taking a minor in stats. So technically, my PhD is in statistics with a
Oh
minor
my
in marketing, but like my concentration in my department was marketing. And it's just because I picked up that minor in stats on top of having the stats that I'm real stat heavy.
that's amazing. And so where are you now?
I just got post tenure review approved. So that was with the new government regulations, all faculty who already have tenure every 5 years have to go back up for review and then I guess could
That's
lose their jobs. Um,
congratulations. That's a big
I know.
deal. It's
It
a big
is. So
deal.
I'm tenured. I got tenure at year 7, which is when standard at my university, and then I went back up this year, which was 5 years post tenure, and got that letter last week.
I love it. When we talk about teaching and you look back on all your experience, what stands out for you?
Mine are always my students' growth moments.
Mm.
And it's hard because growth is hard, right? Growth doesn't come easy, and it's not an easy A, and it's not like the easy part. But the things that stand out are the students that like come back to me a few years later and are like, I hated you at the moment. You were so hard on me, but you prepared me for the real world. Like
Mm.
how you treated me, the way you interacted with me, your expectations really set me up for success. And that happens on a fairly regular basis because Ball State does a really good job networking with our alumni. And so,
Get to interact with people.
yeah, so they come back. And so I get to see them. And then, we have those conversations. So, from a like overall big picture, what stands out, that's probably is like I know I'm hard on them and they hate me in moments. Some of them love it. And that's what's so interesting to me. Are you experiencing this where like this generation right now is different than our students 3 years ago?
I feel like in our conversations back and forth, and if I can just read this, I'm gonna have to. I'm old. Give me one sec. So
I
you
heard
said
you.
because this really resonates, and this is what we're talking about too. You said this profession can be such a mind fuck,
Mhm.
which totally resonated with me. You said the pressure and criticism comes from everywhere and all the time. However, it can also be one of the most rewarding things that you've ever done because every semester you have the chance to change a student's life. And it's truly an honor to be a college professor. I thought
Mhm.
that was so sweet, but also so real. For me, it made me think about in one semester or even one class, people can love me. It can be changing lives, and people can hate me, and they're probably throwing darts at my face somewhere. And it's just such a wide range, and it's an emotional roller coaster to try and I know we're not necessarily told that we need to keep everyone happy, but I do actually feel like sometimes it is my job to really please everyone in my class, and that is really difficult. Um, yeah, and I have heard that the younger generation coming into university and colleges now, they have a different mindset and they are more challenging on educators. I don't know if that would be the right word or more critical. What's your experience with that? And that's not always a
Oh,
bad thing. I'm not saying that at all because I think
agreed.
we rise to that as well. But I
Mm.
have heard that there is a bit of a difference. But
Y
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing it, and my colleagues are too. I teach undergrad and masters,
Mm.
and our masters are typically non-traditional students, so they're students who are out in the workforce, have full-time jobs, it's online, and my undergrads, Ball State, we have a fairly homogeneous set of students. They're trying real hard to expand kind of like the types of students that we bring in, and they have, and what I'm finding is the students who aren't necessarily sure they wanted to go to college, but ended up there for whatever reason are usually my hardest working students.
Oh, okay. Tell me more about this. I would have thought the opposite.
Yeah, no, and I say this all the time. Education is the only service or product that people don't want what they pay for, right? Our students want the grade from the class, but they don't want to put in the work to learn
Right.
for the grade. And I'm seeing it different this semester specifically. It's been very different for me. I have had a much higher percentage of the class very actively engaged. And I'm thinking specifically of my Marketing 300, which is the intro to marketing class. It's their first marketing class. And regardless of whether they're a marketing major or minor or not, like I have theater students and have graphic design students and I have, students from the arts and the sports administration and like they're all over the board and it doesn't seem to matter what their major is. They're coming to class very serious about the learning and having done the work. And I use that flipped classroom model
Yeah.
where you have to do all the work before you come to class and then we're going to talk about it and get deeper into it because I get bored otherwise. And if
Uh-huh.
I'm bored, nobody's learning. And so I use podcasts in my class.
This is cool.
I just have noticed that like not all of them, but a larger percentage of the students are like, I need this and I have to take this for a reason and I'm going to take it seriously because I have to give it my time. So I might as well learn something as opposed to, 2 or 3 years ago, it was like, just give me the grade. stop making me do all the work. Like, I just want to get through the class, and I don't care if I get an A, I just wanna get through. So I'm loving this new generation, and I've also noticed they really appreciate authenticity and transparency,
Agreed.
which tracks. The word of the year in 2023 was authenticity, so
Like, you actually mentioned student athletes too. I really find that they stand out in class as well. If they're the dedicated ones, I have student athletes who've never missed any of my classes, or
mhm.
they'll let me know if they are going to be late or something, which is so weird. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Like, do you? But they're just so on top of everything. Yeah, and their grades reflect that. I love working with student athletes. Yeah, and I
I
have a
do too.
of athletes with the educator experience too. I love working with athletes.
Yeah, that's so fun that you just said that. I sent this email to one of my students. I have to wait until after the semester's over, but I just said something to the effect of, "You're rare. I I appreciated your intentionality with which you showed up to class every day, your time management skills by thinking about what you would need to do in order to have time away with your family and what that needed to look like. It's rare to have a student, let alone a student athlete, that is this dedicated to a class that's outside their major. And your dedication in the classroom was notable and unique. And I'm
That's
offering to write you a recommendation letter. And I've sent this email maybe 3 times."
that's beautiful. Absolutely
Mhm.
beautiful. I love
And
it.
so I think
Something.
that's kinda sums it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you were saying you use podcasts. How do you
I
do that?
do. I love the NPR How I Built This
Mm,
podcast. I have a paper published on it. I mapped the podcast, from How I Built This. It talks with entrepreneurs from some of our world's largest brands: Kate Spade, Southwest, Crate& and Barrel, Instagram, Airbnb, Burt's Bees, Dude Perfect. So they interview all these entrepreneurs, and students know these brands, right? And so they're interested in it because they're thinking about what they're hearing through the lens of marketing. So I typically make them read whatever chapters I've aligned it with, and then they have to pull out 3 to 5 concepts, define it, and then highlight it how it was used in the podcast. And then they come to school or come to class the first day of the week. We have 2 classes. First sit down is you get in a small group with the people around you. You talk about the concepts that were covered. Then your team gets up on the board, and that 5 to 7 minutes to doing that, depending how fast they're done. Like
mhm.
you can tell, right, when they're done in their small groups. You can tell the volume changes and the topics start getting crazier. So then I'm like, okay, we're coming back together, and then we talk about it as a whole class. And as I cover the content, I'm like, okay, who put product placement on the board? All right, I erased that. Now tell me what you had. So even if they're um, using ChatGPT or whatever AI that they're using, they still have to talk about it in class. They have to go back and read their notes and
Mhm,
talk about it in class. And then other people have the chance to like jump in and interact on like why they had that concept. Because if somebody had it on there, I just have them put a check next to it instead of writing it on the board multiple times. I'm like, okay, 4 other people put a check next to product placement. What else do you guys have to add to that? Or did you think about it differently? And so it just kind of creates this environment of we're all here to learn. Everybody's got a different and interesting or unique perspective, and we all can contribute to the learning in the classroom. And it's really fun. It's really fun.
I haven't done podcasts in any of my classes yet, but I think it would be interesting for
It's
sure.
fun.
For
If
sure.
you decide to do it and you want to partner on something like that, I love research,
Oh, this is so
especially pedagogical research. It's like my fave.
so tell me, I was looking at your resume, looking at all your accolades. Tell me more about the type of research that you've done.
I don't have that many. Um, I don't have enough. Let's say it that way, because there's never enough. I'm a competitor. I like to win at
It's in there. Yes, I love it.
everything.
What is something you're most passionate about right now?
AI effective use in the classroom.
Okay, this is my jam.
Yeah.
What are you noticing?
Oh, they're hypocrites. They're hypocrites. So I am not as tactful as I would like to be or as I think I am in my head. So a student, this happened 2 week like last week. They want feedback on a project,
Mhm.
and I look at the project and it's not amazing like they think it is. And so I want to give feedback. And so I'm like, you know what? I don't think I can do this as nicely as I want. So I type up my direct feedback into ChatGPT and I say, ChatGPT, polish this, make it more concise, and ensure that I'm clearly communicating the differences between these two assignments. So that because I think they haven't disentangled the connection between these two assignments. It was a executive report and a presentation.
Oh,
Right, and so they needed to separate those 2 out, and they basically, like, literally had almost their entire report with bullet points, and I was like, "No, this is not an executive report. This is a presentation with a paper version of the presentation. That's not the same thing." So I used AI to give more clear feedback, and it was specifically about that project, and oh my gosh, they got so mad at me.
oh, really?
They got so mad at me. "You should not be using AI to give
Oh my god.
feedback to students." And I was like, "Well, time out. Hold on. A, I'm the professor. I don't understand. What I should and shouldn't be doing is my discretion, not yours.
Mhm.
B, we've been using AI in the classroom this entire semester exactly this way. And now when it's turned around and coming back at you, you're mad?
Mhm.
I don't understand." So I
Some
want to do a project where I'm looking at giving students AI feedback and telling them it's from AI, but professor generated
mhm.
initial content. I want to get them the same feedback and not give them anything. And then I want to tell them that it's the professor's feedback and not tell them that it's from AI and get their impressions of the professor. And I'm 100% sure I will see something different across those three.
I love hearing conversations about people who are doing research in their classroom on their own behaviors and outputs. It's amazing. I
IRB does not like it.
I know, right?
They're
Having
very
friends
opposed
with
to it.
students like this. But how are we gonna know? How are we gonna know? But I actually read something the other day. So students, yeah, are hypocritical about professors using it, but we're at 2 different levels. We are not evaluating our critical thinking. We have the know-how in order to use it correctly, and it's our information. And so students are coming at it from a different perspective, right?
Mm.
We are challenging their thinking, their writing, their whatever it is. And when we ask them not to use it, it's because of certain scenarios. But we are
Mm.
using it in a professional context. So they're comparing apples and oranges, I've noticed.
Mm.
And that it's an ongoing conversation, I feel like.
Oh, I
Yeah.
like that. I'm gonna have to use that.
Yeah. They're like, why are you using it? Because I know how to use it. Because I know what I'm doing. I know the what I'm inputting and I know how I'm actually looking at the output and evaluating it to make sure, right? That's
Yeah.
the difference, right? I'm looking at what it just said, what it just came out as. Like I use it for exactly what you just did too.
I call it my bitch check.
Yeah, I love it. Right? It is. See, I'm a very straightforward person with my feedback. I don't like this. I don't like that. Do this instead. Consider
Yep,
this. So I put my
exactly.
notes, but I understand how that could come across. And it takes time for me to fluff my words,
Soften it.
right? And just be more conducive to being received better. So
Mhm.
being able to put my notes into ChatGPT and have it formulate it a little bit more softly is really effective for me. It's like it does this
Extraordinarily.
beautiful stuff skills.
Yes, my feedback was so on point and
Right?
so nice. It was way
Yes.
nicer. It
Yes.
was way nicer. And that's what I said to the students that were so upset. I said, they
This is
told me they were offended and felt attacked. And I was like, well, then you wouldn't have been able to handle what I actually was going to say to you. And they looked at me like I was crazy.
it's really an interesting time for education. Where would you
Mhm.
say that because you're in the States and I'm in Canada, how do you feel in general education is adapting to AI from your perspective?
Slowly.
Mm.
There's a few innovators. I mean, if you think about the the diffusion of innovation, like,
Literally
we're
just
the innovators,
yeah.
and there's not many people, especially in administration and the ones that are making the laws, that, um, have recent classroom experience and who also are willing to learn how to use this new tool.
Mm.
in the ways that some of the people who are innovators in this space do. And so it's real easy to pass a judgment on what should or shouldn't be done or a law that should or shouldn't be used if you're not in the classroom seeing how it's being used. And
Uh-huh.
so I think it's I think it's great. It is not going away. I absolutely think most people have overhyped it, have maybe spent too much money on it because the human element and the specific strategic insights that can come from them can't be generated from an AI program yet. Maybe eventually, but it's not there. I can give it the data set and tell it to analyze the data, and it can't give me back what I have taught the students to do, right? Because I also teach a research class. And so, that was one of their assignments was like upload the data set and ask it for the three, a pair samples t-test and a NOVA and a regression with these three variables and see what it'll give you and use all the different AIs. All of you use different ones. Don't all use ChatGPT or Gemini because our students get access to Gemini for free.
Oh,
And it couldn't do it. And they were like, so then I'm like, okay, well, what did you learn? Right? Because the reflection is super important. And that's what they were saying is like, yeah, I can't do what I can do. You taught me to do something that can't do.
which is awesome. It's good for them to have that experience and understand that AI isn't this perfect thing and it's going to save you from doing your work.
Hmm.
They're really doing the work.
Yeah. It just helps you be more efficient and polite if you struggle with tact, which
I
is
agree.
my,
Yeah,
which is my,
that's occasionally mine too. I was gonna say, and I had an interesting conversation recently with some colleagues, and the difference between professionals and students is we know the general direction that the output should be in, but the
yes.
students aren't at that level yet. So what
Mm,
they're just getting accepting whatever comes out and not challenging it because they don't have that level of education and experience yet. So they're
mm,
thinking it's this magical thing, and that's
hmm,
where the continued education needs to needs to continue at the end of the
mm,
day, right? And people are like, "Oh, we're gonna lose our jobs and this and that." Like they still don't have the experience from day one to be able to question any of this stuff and critically analyze. And there's so much work that goes into to being able to be at that point. Yeah.
you're so right.
Yeah.
That resonates.
Listen, if I took every first output from ChatGPT, like, no, it should be more like this or it should be more like that. But the students don't know the should be part because they don't
Yeah.
know the approximate end result, right?
Yeah. I'm not using it for anything that I haven't already done myself 15,000 times.
Mm.
Right? But, like, for instance, on, Thursday, I had a presentation and I forgot to create a rubric for myself, and so
Oh, goodness, rubrics, yeah.
I hate rubrics. First of all, I hate rubrics, but I get the students love them. It's black and white. It's very clear. Like, I understand it. As a student, I would have loved it, but our professors didn't do that back then. Um,
They're like, "How
and
do I feel today? Okay, you're gonna get this grade." Yes.
exactly, that's
Mm.
how it used to be.
Yep.
So I just gave it an old rubric and I gave it the assignments and I said, create me a new rubric that I
Mhm.
want it to look like this and I want it to have these components from the assignment and give me something. And like it didn't come out perfect, but it was a pretty good first rush draft. And I was like, no, fix this, do this, add this, add this. And then I'm like, okay, I can pull all of that. Yes, that's close enough. I can do the rest myself. And I, right. And so in 20 minutes, I was able to create a very solid rubric. And one of my friends that was there, she knew I didn't have one 20 minutes before, and then she came, she was like, "You came up with this really fast." And I just smiled at her. Uh-huh. Because then the presentation started, so I didn't even have time to tell her, like, "Girl, I use AI to help me with that."
There is a place for it in education, but I think colleges and universities are behind at this point, and we're playing catch up. So I'm curious to see where the next few years will land, I guess.
Mhm, me too. Because in 5 years, we could be having a very different conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
As we start to wind down the conversation, if you were to look back, your experience, what would you tell new educator Rebecca? What advice would you give her?
Be softer. I was too harsh. I was too harsh at first, and I had a big ego
Mm.
at first because I am a doctor. And you need to call me a doctor, right? And like I had that real big power distance, but I also had been coached to have that. And that wasn't the right thing for me personally, like for my own style and who I am as a person. The coaching that I received was not a good fit for me. And it made me seem mean rather than you said it really nicely earlier. I can't remember what you said. It was something to the effect of raising the bar and we rise to it. You said something like that. Like that's always my goal is I don't want my class to be easy because if it's easy, you haven't learned anything.
Mhm.
The learning comes in the struggle. And so I've got to make you struggle because then you click in or you like, jump in or you activate, whatever you want to call it. And then that's where you learn. And so there's learning in the struggle. And that doesn't mean I have to be so firm and strict and rigid. Like there is always a place for grace and flexibility, but that's not what I was taught, I think. And and most PhD students don't get a class on teaching,
Mhm.
especially if you're not an education major. So it was bad guidance for me, and it took me a while to figure that out. But maybe that's what it would be. Is like everybody's going to want to give you advice, but you have to really know yourself. And if you don't know yourself and you haven't identified your teaching style, then get some people that you admire to help you fine tune that and practice and go to conferences and go to presentations and find people who are doing cool stuff and stay connected with them
I
because
love
they're going to be your lifeblood. They're going to be the ones that support you through the difficult stuff, not the person that gave you the bad advice, most likely.
I love it, and just learn from them. Be
Yeah.
continually into learning and growth and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we expect of our students.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to
We are the
model it.
ultimate, learners at the end of the day as educators, I think, right?
Oh, 100.
Yeah.
Are we
I
gonna talk about that beneficence thing?
Did you want it?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do
I,
it.
like I have to.
Okay, let's go. Yes.
That was one of my, most recent you asked me about impactful things, and I
Yeah,
think that's probably where you were trying to lead me, but
that's
I didn't
alright.
quite
I'm
get
open to wherever it goes. Yeah.
I have I was almost moved to tears in class, which to get me to cry, it's not that hard anyways. One of our cornerstones of Ball State is beneficence.
Mm,
And I didn't really know what beneficence was. Do you know what beneficence is?
I can pretend. No, I did not.
I didn't either. Um, so like what is beneficence? I don't even know how to spell it.
I was just like, "Is she saying that right?" I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm like, "I'll
Yeah,
figure it
beneficence.
something after."
Beneficence means the act of doing good, showing kindness, and acting charitably,
Oh,
often implying a moral obligation to help others and promote their well-being, especially in professional ethics like healthcare and education. So active goodness is more than just avoiding harm. It's a positive duty to take action for someone's benefit.
I like that.
Yes. And I love it. And I love that. And it feels like it embodies who I am. And yet I asked my students, I said, how many of you, because it's a cornerstone of our education, how many of you have ever spoken about beneficence in your classes? And I had 2 of 34 that day raise their hand. And I was like, well, we're failing you, so we're going to do that today.
Uh,
What is beneficence to you? And so, they talked through and basically regurgitated the same definition. And I said, okay, now what does that look like? I have asked you guys to come to class today, having your personal values outlined and thinking about in the context of how you give back to the world and society around you. And I've asked you to think about or find nonprofits that align with your values and
uh,
like why you want to work with them or why you would want to give your resources, time, money, energy. And they were so inspirational and made me want to go do work, right? Philanthropy right away. And there was such a wide breadth of things that all these different students from all these different backgrounds are so passionate about. And I have never seen that. I've been asking this for years in the classroom, but this semester, these students just came and gave it their all.
Imagine
And
how that feels.
I know, and it felt so wonderful.
So what made it different, do you think? Like, what did they you said the depth and breadth of what they were sharing, but how so?
It wasn't a, "I have to check this box,"
Okay. It was
to get
genuine.
yeah, they were into it, and
Yeah.
they did research, and, like, one of them wants to work specifically with people who have been in prison and are trying to make a better for life for themselves post
Mhm.
that. One of them is super passionate. He's a fashion major, and she's super passionate about sustainability, and she's like, "I haven't bought brand new clothes from a non-sustainable company in more than 5 years."
Mm.
And she was like, it was just kinda like a little mini education sesh on, like, what she was talking about and why she's passionate about it. Um, and so, you know, many of them are passionate about reading and education and the youth, and those are fairly normal ones. But I loved like the diversity of the interest in how they can use their time, energy, and resources to give back to the world around them, and that they all were looking at it through the lens of like my own personal brand and me as a human, not me.
What do I stand for in this lifetime? Yeah, who do
Mhm.
I be? And the
Yeah.
impact, I guess. I think that actually kinda ties back to what you were saying about what you're noticing about the past few years of students,
Yeah.
these current students, that they are so aligned with who they are, their values, and the impact that they wanna have.
Mhm. They care a lot about it. This generation, this group of students right now seems to care more than I've seen others care. Because 'Cause I've been doing like I said, I've been doing this particular thing for 5 semesters, and
Mhm.
I've never had this type of reaction
Why do
and
you think that
response.
is? Where do you think that's coming from?
I just think they're different. They They got it could be they got hit with COVID and everything was taken away, and we all know that social life is so important in those teen and early adulthood years, and it all got taken away, and they had to get, centered,
Mhm.
and they spent a lot of time alone and with their core families in those time periods, and I think it was really good for them for that. And B, I think they had to do a lot of self-reflection about like, how am I gonna spend my time because so and so down the street just died, or
Mhm.
so and so friend just lost their mom and their grandmother and their sister, you know? And so I think a little bit of crisis can really help center you and highlight the tensions between who you wanna be and how you are being.
Interesting. So how has that impacted you as an educator, do you think?
It makes it easier. 'Cause I'm one of those people who, like, I care. I can't have them in my classroom and not care about them. I take it personal, and I wish I couldn't, but at the same time, it's part of what makes me great at my job and why they come back to me 3 years later or 7 years later and say, "You're being hard on me in the way that you interacted and treated me just like an adult, really prepared me for the real world." And so I think it's just helped me be able to be more authentic.
Which is nice.
Um
Yeah.
Which feels good, right? Like, not only is it easier, but I also feel more in line with my own values
Oh, I see. Yeah.
because I get to be myself more.
I love it. And also, I feel like when students are that genuine and that authentic in class, it can take it in interesting directions too, because then you can really see what people are passionate about. You know
Mhm,
what? I see these connections happening here. I'm going to adjust things a little bit and let's keep rolling with this, right? When you're not
mhm,
seeing that, you're just kind of leading, you're like, okay, I have this plan, and I'm just rolling with it. But it's so wonderful to know that people are really connecting, and then, yeah, I'm totally open to changing things all the time. If I know that a group of people are passionate about healthcare, nonprofits,
mhm,
let's talk more about that.
mhm.
Let's flip things a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a new program that I've been using for since the summer called Career Growth Now, and, I'm making them do that too, making them. It's part of my classes. Um, they get to choose whether they do it or not, obviously, but it's part of the class, the graded component. And in that Career Growth Now content, A lot of the stuff is centered around like understanding who you are and
Mm.
understanding what you value, and then trying to find companies and organizations that have values that align with yours, because when the values align, the tension isn't there. But I often experienced for myself when the company's values didn't align with my own values, I was miserable at work. And it was because there wasn't that alignment, and there was a constant tension between what I'm expected to do to earn this paycheck and what I feel like I should be doing. And so I think that might be part of why I'm seeing it very different this semester as opposed to the previous 4 semesters, is I just started integrating this into my class right now.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
like this.
I make
But
them do a lot of self-exploration.
yeah,
So
I enjoy those type of classes myself,
me too.
and
Me
I
too.
think yeah, the more that students can learn about themselves, there's a significant impact on all of their education, right? And their
Mhm.
conversations are just deeper.
Mhm.
Yeah, for
For
sure.
sure.
Rebecca, thank you. This has been
Thank you.
such an enlightening conversation. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you as well. So, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for sharing your time today. I appreciate it. What is your weather like in Indiana right now? It is snowy in British Columbia. What is yours like?
It is beautifully sunny with snow everywhere.
Okay, so y'all get snow.
Oh, yeah. The rooftops are covered.
Okay, so it's similar. I love
Yeah.
it. Well,
Yeah.
enjoy your snowy, beautiful, sunny day. And thank you
Thank
again
you.
for joining us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Educator Experience. We hope you're walking away feeling connected, inspired, and just a little bit more supported on your journey. Ready to go a little bit deeper? Join the Educator Experiences community and check out our courses and workshops specifically designed to support new educators as they navigate the ups, downs, and everything in between. You'll find it all at educatorexperiences.com. If today's conversation resonated with you, share it with a fellow educator, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Together, we're building a vibrant community rooted in support and connection. See y'all next Monday.